We are at the forefront of many innovative and exciting things developing in the world of senior living. With Tim Mallad, CEO of Forefront Living, as our guide, this show will shine a light on how older adults can embrace these changes to live active, happy, fulfilling, and thriving lives. Through discussions with senior living and hospice professionals, architects and designers, and people of all ages, we'll help today's seniors envision the art of the possible and take steps toward achieving the future of their dreams. Welcome to At the Forefront.
Welcome to At the Forefront. I'm Tim Mallad, CEO of Forefront Living, and I'm happy to be with you today. And our focus is going to be on wellness and thriving, and particularly thriving at Presbyterian Village North. We're pleased today to have two guests. Our first guest is Janice Bentley. Janice and her husband Chester live at Presbyterian Village North and have lived there for, I believe, 14 years. The Bentleys have been married for 60 years and have two children. Janice's hobbies are sewing, crafting, quilting, and fitness and exercise.
Right.
Along with Janice is Shannon Radford. Shannon works at PVN and serves as Director of Wellness. Shannon is originally from California. She will be going on her 17th year at PVN and has a degree from Texas A&M University in cardiac rehab. Exercise physiology, I believe, is the correct term. And she and her husband have two children and a yellow lab. And Shannon, of course, if you can't tell by the way she's dressed, is also very much into fitness, along with her hobbies of running, yoga, Pilates, and shopping and reading. So I welcome you both to At the Forefront. And I guess the one question I have for both of you, and if I look at some of the notes I have, Janice, you were just shy of 70 when you moved into PVN,
right.
And you know, at the age of 69, you made the decision to move into a retirement community. So I'm curious about that. And the follow-up question you could be thinking about this, Shannon, is you were also basically just out of college and in your early 20s and chose a path in senior living. So that'd be the very first question I'd ask you first. What was your decision? What motivated you to move into Presbyterian Village North and choose that lifestyle?
Well, actually, I was 68. We were both 68 when we moved there. And we just decided we wanted to, my mom had been on one in Oklahoma City. And so we decided we wanted to let come before we got, while we were still healthy and, you know, could have fun and enjoy it and not be old. And
16 years later, I think the plan is working out well then.
It really is, yes.
So Shannon, you graduate from college, you have, you know, a background in exercise, and you end up working with seniors. Was that intentional? How did that happen? And how's it been?
Absolutely not. It was not intentional. It's funny, when you go off to college, you really don't know what the outside world holds. You know, you go and you get a degree path, and you know, at that time I knew I was an athlete growing up, so I knew I wanted to do something with sports medicine. I had torn my ACL my senior year in college, so I was really able to kind of see the patient side of it and how it feels to be on that end. And so it really kind of encouraged me to go that path. But when I graduated, I started in cardiac rehab. And from there, it's an interesting story. There was a connection between the hospital that I was working at and PVN. And at that time, they called over and they said, hey, we're opening up this gym at PVN. Is there anybody that wants to come over and get this thing up and running? So I was like, that sounds awesome. I'll go ahead and do that for a little bit of time while I apply to get into PT school. And I fell in love with it from just day one. I just could not believe that, you know, that there were senior communities out in the world that do all of these wonderful things with amenities left and right. And so it's funny to say that, you know, 17 years later, I'm still here. And
And if you go back to, you said you came to open the gym.
Right.
And that gym opened and is really now a wellness university. Can you talk about that concept and how over time that changed from that impression that you're going somewhere to open a gym, and then 17 years later, you're really overseeing a wellness university?
Yeah, so no, it's definitely been a slow and steady process. I mean, it started one day at a time. I mean, when I first started, we were really only offering 5 classes a week. And so now to have such a robust program that is throughout the community, all levels of care, we offer close to 80 fitness classes a week, along with our Get Fit Step Down personal training program. We're really able to support having more staff come in. So, most senior living communities our size really only have 2 that work in a fitness wellness role, and we have 7. So it really allows for us to get out there and just have the best of the best programming. We really are creative. We like to have fun. Janice can speak to that. But really, it was just a day-to-day thing, and it was having the backup and support of the executive team. Because I really do think the way that senior living communities are, you have to have a strong wellness program. You have to. It is something that people look for. When they move into a community, they want to be active, they want to be healthy, they want to live their best lives. And if you don't have a strong wellness program, you're going to be overlooked. It really is super important.
Which is a great segue into discussion with you, Janice. And you've been really with Shannon on the majority of her journey at PVN, and you've seen this commitment to wellness, and I think, the thriving piece of wellness. What role does that play in your life, and what benefits do you see from really adopting that sort of lifestyle, or a wellness-centered lifestyle? Well,
I mean, that was one of the things that we were really interested in when we found out they had an exercise program, and I've always been into exercise, and I wanted to continue because I know that you're going to live longer and be happy and thrive with exercise every day.
So of the 85 offerings or 80 plus offerings that Shannon talked about, do you have a favorite? What level of participation do you have?
My favorite is spin. I like spin, and I like the cyber cycle. I ride it a lot.
I think you need to tell them a little bit about this cyber cycle.
Well, you don't know about the cyber cycle?
Apparently not.
Well, the cyber cycle has this big virtual screen with all these races. Well, one day I found on there they had this. What do they call it?
So basically, other communities across the country, you can log in
actually
and compete against them.
Yeah.
And
if you sign in, you have your code number,
your user ID,
and you sign in. Well, and it records all your miles, and you can actually go to, they have a website, and you can see everybody all over the world how much they've ridden, and they have a competition every month, and it starts the first day of the month. It starts, and you try to see who can get the most miles. Well, this lady in Plantation, Florida, and her husband, and they ride, and so we're in big competition. I've been competing with her since last September. And we duel it out every day.
And who's ahead?
To see who can do the most, who can ride the most miles. And I have beat her for 6 months in a row now.
She has Chester go up there and ride too.
Yeah. Well, her husband rides for her. So we're riding like mad. So this month, we're getting ready to go out of town for 5 days, so I got to get ahead of her. So I'm 500 miles ahead of her now.
500 miles. How many miles a month are you doing?
A month? Ooh, about 1,500.
So you're clearly in the advanced class, right, at
I
PVN.
guess.
She's what we call one of our endurance athletes.
But you mentioned, so you're a couple. Chester has different likes, does he not, with fitness, and what does he do?
Oh, he likes fitness. But he doesn't ride as much as he's lazy. I probably shouldn't say that, but he swims. He does a rowing machine. He does all the her machines, and the elliptical trainer sometimes. So
And he walks. He walks a lot too throughout the
he
community.
did before he hurt his ankle, but yeah, he's pretty into it too.
Well, and the funny thing about the cyber cycle is right before COVID hit, we did a 48-hour challenge where we rode through the night. So residents signed up and everybody had a time slot. My staff, we spent the night, we rode through the night, and we came in second or third. I think we came in second.
I think we came in second.
Which was pretty awesome, and it was a fun thing to blow up mattresses and sleep in the fitness center and just kind of make it fun.
So Shannon, Janice has always had a lifestyle of wellness and exercise, but oftentimes people will join us that haven't exercised before or are reluctant to exercise. Do you have a success story or some examples of how you've been with somebody on a fitness journey?
Sure. I mean, I can probably think of a million. And really, when you think about exercise, it's really not popular. Most people don't want to do it. They know the importance of it and they know why they need to do it. But really finding that right program for them is what I try to encourage, especially new residents moving in. And that really is why we have a wide variety of classes that we offer and teach, because we understand that everybody's unique. It's not a cookie cutter program. You and I are not going to like the same type of class, and that's okay. But ultimately, if you can find and offer a class that someone enjoys, and then they get their people, because we love to socialize too in classes. It's very common. So they're more likely to have that accountability of other friends that are coming to that class, and B, doing something that they like. I mean, because when you think of the range of classes that we teach, I mean, it's anything from yoga, Pilates, hip hop, line dancing, balance classes, spinning, underwater spinning, aquatic classes. There really is something for everyone, and that's the design of the program. But I think from like an exact story of someone, like a success story, one of my favorites would probably be a gentleman, a resident who moved in after his wife was really ill. She moved into our healthcare center. He moved into independent living. And after she passed, he just went into a horrible depression. He would not come out of his home. He was isolating. His family was reaching out to us like, this is not our dad. Like, what can we do to help him? And so we were able to get our therapy department to go out and start seeing him in his home. And gradually, I mean, it took months. He was able to graduate from therapy and move into the personal training program. And I actually had the honor of working with him. So we built this relationship. At this time, he was still not wanting to come out of his house. He was just depressed and just really taking his wife's death really hard. But we gradually got him out, got him to the gym. He started working out in the gym, started making some friends, joined the choir. And then we turn around and he's like, hey, Shannon, I want to do a solo in our talent show. I want to do, because he loved to sing. We would sing together and we just formed a really sweet bond. So sure enough, he did. He performed in our Gray Fox Follies, a solo. His kids were there, and I'm backstage just like bawling, crying, happy tears, because I'm like, this is just beautiful. And at the end of that performance, his family came up to me and some of the therapists, and they said, "Thank you for saving our dad's life. Like, you brought life back to him when he was in his darkest moments and wanted to give up." And it's a beautiful story of just meeting people where they are and trying to help find, happiness for them. And he has since lived many, many happy years.
That's wonderful.
At our community. So it's more than just the, hey, I want to be looking good in my teeny weeny bikini, right, Janice? It's about function. It's about living life. These are their best years. And when you don't feel well physically, it puts a burden on the rest of your life. And so that's really our main goal.
Janice, I have a question for you because Shannon just touched on the social aspect of it. So now we know you're very competitive and you've made a friend in Plantation, Florida, but talk about or tell us a little bit about the social aspect of wellness and fitness and how they intertwine. So you have competition involved. Are there any other examples of working out with someone or bonding over fitness, maybe in a non-competitive way?
Well,
oh, come on. Everything you do is competitive.
I know.
The Halloween hustle, that's a great example. Do you want to tell them about that?
What is the Halloween?
The Halloween hustle
Was when we did that sprint triathlon.
I don't remember that.
That was the one where, I shouldn't say this out loud. We may have to cut this one out. That was the one where Chester won. He beat you, but you thought he cheated.
Oh.
So we transformed our Group X studio into like a black light Halloween theme.
Right.
And everybody had to spin, row, and then walk on the treadmill.
Right.
And everybody was in like neon colors. So of course with black lights, like it's all like super fun. And Janice and Chester ironically beat Brian Cooper, who was in his, 40s?
Probably, yes.
And he was trying so hard to keep up with it. He couldn't keep up with them. But Chester, for some odd reason, did beat her, but we still think he might have cheated.
I put more
resistance.
I put resistance like I usually do, and he didn't. So he could go faster and do more miles.
This was Chester?
Yes.
Gotta watch him.
I know, we have to watch him.
That's a different spin on a cheating husband, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
But so the competition is even with each other and with your spouse. Mm-hmm. So
Sure.
what do you do when you encounter a fellow resident who isn't interested in exercising? What do you say or do?
I just tell them, well, try it. You'll like it. Just do it. And I mean, you may not want to go, but just go and if you go every day for 2 or 3 weeks, it becomes a habit. And then you just do it. I mean, I feel bad if I can't go to the gym. I didn't go to the gym this morning. I feel bad.
And how do you feel bad?
I mean, I feel like I'm lazy. I should have gone to the gym.
Well, an interesting question for you, and I think an aha moment for me at the very beginning of the pandemic, if we all recall that, and when everybody was really staying at home and things were closed, our residents surprised me that it wasn't the dining room, it wasn't the auditorium that they were pushing to have opened, it was
the wellness center. But we had videos that the girls made. So I got up at 5 o'clock every morning and I did them for 1 hour at least every day. I didn't take a day off.
That is
Because
dedication.
I was not going to get unfit.
You just wanted to see my face every morning.
That's right. I wanted to see the girls.
So talk about the videos. You created special videos and...
Yeah, I think it was a time that we all had to be creative and think outside of the box. And we, with technology now, and luckily we had just launched our Cubigo platform that lets us reach out to all of our residents. And so we just created a virtual library of the majority of, our classes that we felt like were safe to do in a home.
Yeah.
And it really was a lifesaver for many.
Yeah.
We took little kits to every resident that wanted one with exercise equipment for them to have in their own home. We sent out walking guides, for ways to get out at our beautiful community and get miles
Let's
in.
talk about that for a second. So you live on a campus where there's 66 acres.
Right.
And there are walking paths, and you've got the ability to go outdoors. What role does the natural setting, or what role do the outdoors play in your fitness schedule, I guess, or regimen?
Oh, well, I used to walk all the time. I would walk probably at least 10 miles all over that campus. But then when the Wellness Center opened, I really don't walk that much outside. I do the treadmill sometimes, but that's kind of boring. But I mainly do the elliptical trainer and all her machines, the bike, spin bike.
You pretty much use it all.
That's enough.
Well, and I think that's an interesting discussion, because I would agree with you. I would think the treadmill is boring.
Yes.
I hear that from a lot of individuals.
It's very boring.
But how do you discover all of this other fitness equipment? What led you to, you've talked about a number of different things and some specialty equipment.
How do I discover the heart machines? The girls taught me. They teach everybody.
You teach everybody.
Yeah.
Well, I think the cool thing about fitness is there's always new trends coming out, always new gadgets and things that we've been so fortunate to have in our, in our fitness center. And so anytime we get something new, those that want to learn, and we do different sessions and get them going, or classes, and it's just neat to switch it up, because it can get boring doing the same thing over and over again, and your body can also get used to it. So you want to have variety in what you do.
Right.
So what would your recommendation be? Say I've moved in, I've not exercised a lot in my life, I'm shy about going into an exercise room, and somebody's going to say, oh, he's overweight, or, and you get reluctant to do those things. How do you encourage people, or what's your advisement to get people out there? You've said give it X number of days and see how you feel. Shannon, how do you entice people who are reluctant to enter into a fitness?
Well, I think it depends on the generation that they're coming from, especially if they're older. If you're in your 80s and 90s, you're not really used to working out. That's not something that you did. But what we usually do is we'll meet with them one-on-one and just get to know them, get to know their likes and dislikes. And we are so fortunate to have a stellar therapy team that works alongside us in our fitness center. And so it's just a very well-oiled machine. So a lot of times if someone's timid, maybe they never worked out and they're weak, they might be struggling with their balance, they may have hip pain, shoulder pain, you name it. Everybody's got their own special sauce. We may refer them to say, hey, you might just want to get a little tune-up with our therapy department. They'll work with you one-on-one. Then they'll transition you into wellness. They'll help find the perfect class for you, the perfect machines. Because when you walk into our fitness center, it is so state-of-the-art. It can be intimidating for someone who's never worked out. And so usually we'll take that route, and they're like, oh my goodness, we had no idea we could do this. And so our therapists will work with them, send them over to us, and then we'll encourage them to keep maintaining, because that's really, I feel like that's one of the biggest gaps in senior living, is a lot of times patients or residents will go through this great therapy program. They'll get strong, they're feeling better, they'll discharge home with a home exercise plan. Who's going to do a home exercise plan? And so that's why we are so fortunate to have such a great wellness program that comes in and says, hey, these are all the things that you can do to maintain the great work that you've achieved with therapy.
Do you see a generational difference now from an expectation standpoint of a resident moving into a retirement community and their expectations regarding fitness, equipment, swimming pools? Janice, I think you were a trendsetter. You were ahead of your time 14 years ago to have physical fitness be a motivating factor. Mm-hmm. Shannon, are you seeing that change or a change?
Absolutely, 100%. It's cool to say that we have such a range in independent living. We have anywhere from, people in their late 60s, maybe mid 60s, up to 104. So that's a big range when you're talking fitness programs and trying to find the right program. So those people moving in their late 60s, they have high expectations for those underwater spin bikes, those rowing machines, that golf simulator. I mean, they're used to working with things with technology. That cyber cycle that she was talking about, where, not only can you compete with other communities across the world, you can get on there and play games. Mm-hmm. So we have some residents that get in there and they are on that bike and they are just pedaling away and trying to steer all these little, I don't even know what they are, coins and things to
all kinds of things.
But the technology out there now, it just is making fitness not so fun. Boring.
No,
and so people boring. Yeah, people don't want to come in and just do we talked about the Schwinn earlier, and that's a great product. I have nothing against it, but that was kind of an old school. You get on the Schwinn with the air, the fan thing.
Yes.
But people they want to be entertained while they're exercising if they have to do it.
I would be remiss as we wind down our conversation. There's a spark that both of you have. There's a sense of energy, and where is the motivation coming from? Where is the spark? Where is it? I'll ask you first, Janice.
Well, exercise gives you energy. I mean, you exercise, and your body produces endorphins and makes you happy, and and people say to me, well, how could you have some more energy if you exercise so much? But I said, try it, because you do. You have more energy.
How about you, Shannon?
Listen, I would be lying to you if I said that I was not on the struggle bus many days with working out. I mean, I have this love-hate relationship with myself where it's like, I need to work out, but I don't want to, but I need to, but I don't want to. But a lot of it with me is I just need accountability. So I have a running partner that, hey, she's waiting for me and I have to be there. But I agree with Janice. I have never in my entire life finished a workout and been like, gosh, I'm so mad at myself for doing that.
That's right.
You always finish like, yes, I did it. I feel so great. But for me, really, I am a bad trait. It sometimes can be a perfectionist, and so sometimes I do the all or nothing, and I've had to really learn to take a step back with that it's okay if I don't get a full 60-minute workout in. Like, if I can get a 20-minute run, awesome. And so I'm learning that as I get older and just have such a busy lifestyle with kids and work, and so I just try to really plan around when I have couple minutes to go out and take a quick run, and then I feel at peace with that. But for me too, it's finding things that I love. I'm going to be way more excited if I'm going to a class that's fun with a friend than if it's 6 o'clock at night and I'm like, oh, I've already had such a long day, I don't want to miss out with my kids, so it's just, you got to prioritize it, find a time that works, and stick with it. I mean, this is your only body. Like, you have to take care of it.
Any final words of encouragement from the two of you to the rest of us who are thinking about fitness or beginning a fitness journey?
Just do it.
Easier said than done, but I like that positivity. I would say start small. Don't try to put this huge big goal out there, because when you don't hit it, then you just feel down and like, I failed. Even if it's just starting slow, like, hey, I'm going to go out and walk for 10 minutes a day, and then maybe build on from there. Next week, I'm going to walk for 15. And it can be anything. It can be maybe I'm going to go ride the bike. But people just tend to think that that they need to do a certain amount. And yes, it is important to get a certain amount for those health benefits, but you have to start somewhere. And she really hit the nail on the head. Once you get consistent and on a kind of a routine, it becomes habit.
It does.
Well, Janice, thank you for laying down the gauntlet. Shannon, thank you for the constant encouragement. To everybody watching, just do it. And thank you for joining us at the forefront.
Thank you,
Tim
Tim.
Mallad. Thank you.
You.